Hey guys, it's Randy Under the Radar, and this is a very special mini episode of Under the Radar. It is a recap episode of New York Comic Con 2019, and with me right now, I've got two fellow attendees. We've got Kevin Mascara, hello.
Hi.
And Robin Channing, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
So guys, what is it, about 2 weeks ago today was the first day of Comic-Con for this year, and I know that both of you are, you're longtime fans. You've been going, at least I know, Kevin, you've been going for almost a decade, right?
Yeah, I can't remember my first one, but it's definitely around that time frame. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Actually, I think it was 2010. It was you and me. We were Batman and Robin, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you for letting the whole world know that, but that is true.
Yes, it was fun. And Robin, how long have you been going to Comic-Con?
Exactly a decade. As a matter of fact, my first one just so happened to be 2010 as well. And one of those days, I did an extremely cheap attempt at a cosplay. I think it was Kugo Ginjo from Bleach. I think I gathered up the supplies from a local thrift shop, and there it was. And I already had the long hair, so there it was.
Nice. So this year, did you guys dress up this year at all?
I kind of did. I cheated. Basically, I just wore all suits, and I wore suits that different characters have worn in different fiction media. My first day, I wore an all-black suit, black shirt, black hex tie. My interpretation of Loki's all-black suit look from Thor Ragnarok.
And you wore that to meet him.
Yep, right? Appropriately enough, I wore that for the Tom Hiddleston photo op. So, yes, that sucker is a prize. And I was actually surprised myself how many times that one photo got reposted on Instagram. And I'm like, okay.
All right. Cool. Kevin, was being Batman, was that your only time dressing up for Comic-Con?
Yeah, that's right. Just because I wanted it once under my belt. Basically now, typically I'll spend it most of the time with my nephews, when we just kind of have a running tradition. Every year we get a new superhero shirt of their choosing. This year we kind of had ones that were all matching with the Marvel logo and different characters. But since we go multiple days with this tradition, we get options for what to wear every year.
That's true. And I had my standard superhero T-shirts, and 1 out of the 4 days I just had to dress up as a Ghostbuster. It's in my blood. So that was fun. It's a little annoying, but I kind of like being stopped for photos. So I get it. It's fun. It's part of the whole experience. So did you guys see any cool cosplayers? Who were some standouts?
Well, let's see. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cold. So many. I think that as far as standouts, it's all blurred to me because the impact usually is encapsulated by the cosplay championship that takes place on Saturday night.
Okay.
Like the highlights are there. But I tend towards noticing trends. And one trend I noticed was what I call Lebowski Thor. There were so many of those this year.
I think, but between Fat Thor and Pennywise, those were pretty much the two most popular ones.
Pennywise. And I actually saw a few Freddie Mercurys this year.
Really?
That was a surprise. Oh, yeah.
Now, it's always interesting to see what's like the most popular one. I think we're definitely going to see for a significant period of time a lot of Deadpool and Deadpool variations, and Harley Quinn, especially. We talk about over 10 years, went from you will rarely ever see her to every other person is dressed as a form of her.
Harley Quinn, some variant of Harley Quinn. Yeah. And another trending cosplay, not just the Joker, but the new Joaquin Phoenix Joker. That sucker was making some waves. That was trending this year.
Yeah, I definitely saw a bunch of those. I think one of my favorites, though, was the Krang Shredder. Kevin, you know what I'm talking about.
The one
I
we took
think
a picture
I know
with?
what you're talking about as well.
Did you see him too? It was.
I might have actually. I was like, wait, Krang in the stomach, and you got the body. Oh my God, right out of TMNT.
His head was Krang, and the rest of him was like a fake body for the rest of the character. I forget the character's name, and then Krang is the alien. Is there a name for the actual robotic portion?
No, that was just all Krang. That's just
okay.
That he was supposed to be like brought back to life, but in the cartoon. And yes, I remember this stuff, so I guess I feel old. But
to your point, if we can't just call him Krang. We got to call him the evil Emperor Krang. Okay, the man. He's evil enough to deserve a title here.
Yes, forgive us, Kevin.
Yeah, they had the whole big body, but then they had this tiny little two-legged body after a while, because it's like. Because I think it was like he was supposed to be brought back to life inside that big body of his, but then and the brain, weirdly enough, was in the stomach as opposed to the head. But oh well.
Yeah.
But then after a while, he got into this like little two-legged thing with a dome on it. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But,
it was a crazy
cartoon. What do you want? Yeah.
It was it was very inventive, that guy who, what he had to go through with building that. And I give all these cosplayers props, because it's, you got to have a lot of devotion and time and energy to do this. So, yeah. I'm just thinking back. Yeah, Robin, it definitely was a blur, all the cosplayers. It's just so crowded. I mean, I think over the past...
You got like over 100,000 attendees. I mean, it does get to be a blur after a while,
Yeah, it's insane. like for me, there were certain moments, like during the traffic, like trying to get from point A to B. It takes forever. I mean, how did you guys?
There's the literal traffic too, getting into New York every morning and evening and all that.
Like, how did you guys deal with the crowds?
Slowly but carefully. Patience truly is a virtue. It's not just a virtue. Patience is an asset at that place.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Small insider tip, and this might be the only time, Randall, I hope not many people listen to it, but I'll tell you guys anyway. What I realized is after the last few years, they have two entrances. The one straight from 34th, which will always be backed up when you enter, especially if you're trying to go in earlier in the day, because you got Penn Station people from the subway coming in. And they got one on the north side by the 30, I guess that'll be 36th, 37th entrance there.
Yeah, that's the entrance I kind of gravitated towards.
If you walk a little out of the way, the line is so much more manageable.
Well, you know what?
37th or 34th?
I think there were like maybe at least 4
Okay.
different entrances. I think there was another entrance on the south of the building, like close to 33rd or something. Because that's kind of where I went. It's like, I thought it was going to snake around the building, but no, it actually snaked around the southern wall. And it kind of went into the ground floor where, that ground area where the food court is and so forth? There's an entrance there as well.
And that's usually one of the craziest That's the most popular, I think. That's the one I would try to avoid. Yeah.
Are you talking about that little, like, alleyway for all the cosplayers?
Yeah, that general area, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Basically, you can't escape the crowds. It's a mess everywhere in the Javits Center during that time.
Well, it's not so bad actually, because I was going in the mornings, and we actually got in. One time we got into the building like a little before 10, like maybe not 9:45 thereabouts, because they were like, okay, they've put in all this time to go in, and also let's just let people in a little. Why not? Let's start from this entrance, and then let the people from the other entrances come in. I think that was their mentality. They were like, okay, let's let them in a little at a time.
Yeah. I guess Reed Pop did a pretty good job in terms of crowd control and all that, and letting people in, and security check was very organized. It felt like an airport, but it was okay. So guys, I'm curious, what panels did you guys do? I mean, that's sort of one of the main features of Comic-Con. What were some of your panels that you went to that really stuck out to you?
Well, Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, just a few that stand out was actually one you recommended, Randall, was the Rotten Tomatoes panel. They basically just came out with the book celebrating their 21st year and was talking about movies that are rated rotten, but people love them.
Right.
Some examples of that were Step Brothers. Some that I actually was shocked it was rotten just because I thought it got critical acclaim, but apparently not. Was like The Life Aquatic, for example. The Kid in Me definitely went to a Pink Ranger panel. Amy Jo Johnson was there.
Right.
The wrestling fan in me could not get into AEW panel, but I saw it. And honestly, you have to give Sci-Fi and their live stage credit for the past few years. If there's a big panel you can't get into, you at least have the chance to see and have them talk about whatever subject it is for 15 minutes, because all you do is walk up and listen. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, I gotta chime in on that one. That's a good point, Kevin. The Sci-Fi stage that they've got in the dealer's room, I love that. It's as you say, you don't have to worry about punching in with your pass and making sure you got a reserved seat, blah, 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 blah. You just walk up. You know, some of the ones I saw there were the AEW panel. I got to see Chris Jericho live again because one time I saw him live at a WWE event at the Nassau Coliseum here. I got to see him this time representing a new company, AEW, him and John Moxley and a few others. But Chris Jericho himself, seeing him live again was just nice.
So you got to see the fight between him and Cody?
No, I missed out on that because I only caught like a little bit of a beginning because I had other things to go to. But the fight between him and Cody, no, I missed. Tell me about that one. I missed that one.
Well, I didn't get to see it, but apparently during one of the panels, they were, they were in character and they actually brawled a little bit on the stage. They attacked each other.
Oh, so they basically kept the kayfabe going.
Of course. Okay, we're going with terminology. Yep, it's great kayfabe there.
Wow, I am so not a wrestling guy. This is over my head. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's bring it back a little under your neck here, Randy. Kayfabe basically is the industry term for the secrecy within the pro wrestling industry. And the secrecy has to deal with basically basically portraying their characters and their storylines as real as possible to the audience. They're in character 24/7 kind of, and they make the audience believe that what's going on is real, not just with the characters and the storylines, that they're in character, they're in story. So to break kayfabe means to break the secrecy, which in this example is like, okay, that was just playing in character. Now we get to go out and have lunch at the next near diner or something.
Okay.
So
like Daniel Day-Lewis 24/7 method, basically. Look at that.
That's kind of
right.
All right.
So now you know what kayfabe means.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, some of the panels that really stood out to me. Kevin, you and I, we were lucky enough to get into the Paul Rubens panel, and I was actually really surprised at how funny he was. There was no moderator, Robin. It was just Pee Wee, and he was actually really dry, really funny. And Kevin, what did you think of that panel?
I thought it was great to hear his stories. I mean, to his credit, it took a little while. I actually thought that, maybe he had some early onset dementia or whatever, because he definitely went on tangents.
Yeah.
But he kept it going for so long, you could just tell he was playing with the audience and having a good time with it. And there were chuckles throughout the whole thing.
I don't think, has he ever done stand-up as not Pee Wee?
Just Paul Rubens?
Yeah, just Paul Rubens, just him doing stand-up.
I didn't even know he was a stand-up guy. I just thought he was a sketch and comedic actor.
Yeah. He's an enigma, that's for sure.
Well, I think he had his roots because, the early incarnations of Pee Wee's Playhouse, long before it got picked up by CBS, was kind of an adult stand-up thing that he had going on, like a live show. Quite adult, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not going to get into any specifics, but I saw an early incarnation of it on TV. It was quite adult. And when it got picked up by CBS, obviously it got very kiddied up.
Right.
All
right.
Oh, and I got a photo op with Paul Rubens, by the way, so you can see it on my Instagram now.
Yes, I wanted to get into photo ops in a minute, but I just want to mention two other panels that were amazing, by the way. The Michael Uslan panel, where it was the 30th anniversary of Tim Burton's Batman. And,
Michael Uslan was there again? Really?
He was there, yeah, and he was, telling stories from his childhood up until the production and the inception of Batman 1989. And the stories he gave were great. I even asked a question in the Q&A about Danny Elfman. What was it like working with him? And he said it was a very interesting experience. Oingo boingo.
Go, Randy.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever asked a question in a Q&A, actually.
Exciting to the bones, wasn't it?
What? What? I didn't hear.
That must have been exciting to your very bones, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was surreal, I'll tell you. It was a cool moment. So that panel was amazing, and the other panel that I finished up with was I think it was on Saturday. It was for the Galaxy Quest 20th anniversary, and they actually showed, it was a special sneak peek screening of the new documentary Never Surrender, about the making of and legacy of Galaxy Quest. So yeah,
was that the Screen Junkies and Fandom partnership for that?
Yep.
I think I see on the internet. Okay.
It was great, and it was great. It was a great film, and I really recommend it. I think it comes out in December, if I'm not mistaken. But those were two panels that really stood out for me. So yeah,
funny. Michael Uslan, I saw his panel years ago, back in like 2013, back when he was promoting his book, The Boy Who Loved Batman. I met him. That was my first time encountering Michael Uslan. Oh my God, that was an epic experience.
Yeah.
He even signed my badge. I said, don't take this the wrong way. This is not a joke, but could you actually sign this to Robin?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he laughed too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he all these stories, like how his life stories, like University of Indianapolis he went through. He started a comic book studies curriculum there.
Mm-hmm.
How he went to the very first Comic-Con back in like the early 1960s.
Yep.
Several of those stories I end up telling to other people, especially the first Comic-Con and so forth. And how he's like the proud owner of one of the original Fantastic Four comics, which is like somewhere in the six-figure range.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love the fact that he's just like one of us. He's a fanboy. Like that's he's a fan first and foremost, and that's what is really cool.
Yeah. And second most, he's entertainment lawyer. He owns the movie rights to Batman. He became an entertainment lawyer just to buy the movie rights to Batman, just to bring Batman to the big screen. So yeah, he truly deserves the title, The Boy Who Loves Batman. That
is true passion, and I respect him for that. I'm going to try to get him on the show sometime.
Ooh, that would be so cool. Yeah, you gotta let me know about that one. I'd love to chime in on that sucker.
Yeah. I met him after the panel, and he said to contact him. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Now what else? Oh, okay. So yeah, you briefly mentioned Tom Hiddleston. And I wanted to talk about photo ops. Kevin, did you do any photo ops this year?
I can't say I did this year, but I have a theory. You guys tell me what you think. People like Tom Hiddleston, people like, let's see, all the big names that came up, like Paul Rudd and all that, they got to make those prices cheaper. It's one of the reasons I haven't considered. The people who should be charging an arm and a leg should be the B, C-list celebrities, because they really need the money. That's my opinion on that one.
I that makes total sense. I don't know. Yeah, Rudd does not need 200. What was it, Robin? 250, 260?
I paid like around 200 a pop because, I chimed in early on the website, like weeks before Comic-Con started, so I got a nice little bit of a discount.
Oh, good.
So that's one of my tricks there. So next time you see these guys show up, as soon as they're announced, and you want a photo op, get on that sucker immediately. Don't wait until the con itself. Otherwise, you're paying your full price. You're paying much more.
Which ones did you get this year, Robin?
Me? Oh, my God. My Instagram will tell the story. Because I saved up, and I got a lot more than I thought I was going to get. Oh, God. The two top dogs this year were Tom Hiddleston and Paul Rudd.
Nice.
Well, actually, three top dogs, considering I also got Paul Rubens there.
And then you get Billy D. Williams as well?
Yes, I got Billy D. Williams. He's not so much a top dog. He's a legend.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm all dressed up. I got my suits going, so I might as well just get in on this. So that way, build up the portfolio kind of thing. So yeah, that's another secret.
I think out of all of them, the one that I considered really briefly would have been Paul Rubens. I think that would have been a good one. I think his was 70 or 80.
Wait, who is this?
Paul Rubens.
Oh, Paul Rubens. Right.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
He was worth it.
Yeah.
He was surprisingly low key up close.
Yeah.
And very personal. He didn't just sit and pose and all that. He says, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, good. How you doing?" And we were like right next to each other already. But the thing is, I was a big fan of Pee Wee's Playhouse way back in the day. So my point is, anytime I do a photo op, I immediately pay my respects. I have to pay homage to everybody that I did a photo op with. I said, thank you so much for being such an integral part of my childhood back in the 80s,
I kind of did the same thing last year with the cast of Boy Meets World.
Okay.
It was Ben Savage, Will Friedle.
I was going to say Will Friedle, right?
And Danielle Fishel. And they were all very, very cool. And I think I said to Will Friedle, I really miss TGIF. And then he said, so do I. So that was very, and Ben Savage was cool. He's like, just contact me on Twitter or whatever. And I said, cool, okay. All very down to earth people, and yeah, I love seeing that. I love seeing celebrities being real with you. It's really refreshing.
Yeah. Funny you should mention it. I also got a photo op with James Marsters. He was something else. He was like, wait, did I meet you before, like in a dream or something?
He recognized you?
He recognized me as if we met in a dream or something. I'm like, wait, what? That's cool. I'm like, yeah, we might have,
Kevin,
yeah, I saw him on a panel there. That man is a character. He was definitely basically the bigger talker during the Angel reunion.
Yeah, I saw that on the sci-fi stage. Right.
He was Spike, right? He was the vampire?
Yep,
okay.
Spike.
The second vampire with a soul.
Right, thank you.
Nice. Kevin, were there any...
Before we try... Wait,
yeah.
guys, before we chime away from James Marsters, I just want to chime in with just one last little bit. One of my hobbies with photo ops is I like to throw back at them so like a memorable line or something, like a paraphrase of what they said. So with James Marsters, I said to him, this experience has been most effulgent. Voice of Zamasu. He laughed with that. Okay, effulgent, because if you know Spike, his character, William, wanted to be a poet, and his attempts at poetry were awful. But in the last
William the Bloody.
William the Bloody, exactly. That's how he got the name. And then in the last episode of Angel, he was in modern times. He recited some of his old poems at a poetry club, and they were actually very well received. And the key word for that for one of his poems was the word effulgent, the way he used it. And I threw it back at him. He laughed. And also, James Marsters is a huge fan of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and so forth, the franchise. Now, he was part of Dragon Ball Evolution, which did not do well, but he loved the franchise so much that he actually did some voice acting for the English dub of Dragon Ball Super, and he played a character called Zamasu, and that's what I threw at him, voice of Zamasu, which is one of his characters. So he laughed at that too. So I wanted to pay homage to him that way.
Nice.
So yeah, there you have it.
Thank you for that little anecdote. Kevin, were there any stars that you wanted to get photos with?
I mean, if I had to choose, I think I'm going to have to agree with Robin on the Angel cast. I think just because I thought that was such a great show, and they rarely do come to these. I mean, I was trying to think of who just jumped out at me. He wasn't even really doing it in the booth, but Will Friedle was pretty close to me. Once again, that sci-fi stage for the Batman Beyond 20th anniversary panel.
Nice.
Oh, funny, yeah, because you know what? Boy Meets World was being celebrated last year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, they were there for I guess they were promoting Boy Meets or Girl Meets World or something. I don't know.
Because I got my photo op with Will Friedle last year.
Yeah, he's very cool. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Kevin, who else was on the Batman Beyond panel?
Was Will Friedle, Kevin Conroy, and then unfortunately I'm blanking out on the names of some of the female voice actors and like one or two producers.
Oh, like Alan Burnett?
I think he was one of them.
I think the acronym GOAT applies to Kevin Conroy.
What?
GOAT, greatest of all time.
Thank you, Kevin.
Greatest voices? Yeah. Like a lot of people say when they read a Batman comic, they're picturing his voice in their head. You know, they could hear his voice.
Yeah.
You know, it
he
makes
is
sense.
the quintessential Batman voice.
Yeah. Well, listen, to his credit, not only is he the quintessential Batman voice, but he's one of the first to acknowledge the fact that he probably uses two voices depending on if he's Batman or Bruce Wayne. Look,
oh, yeah.
You look at Adam West. The man never changed his voice. He's a famous billionaire. You think he would.
But I think Michael Keaton kind of started that trend of changing.
Yes, Michael Keaton, he did start that, yeah.
He definitely, you can notice it in Batman Returns especially. He's even talking. It's weird.
Even in the first Batman.
There's a scene in Batman Returns where he's in the Batmobile alone, and he's talking to Alfred on this like video phone, and he's still using the Batman voice. I mean, what are you hiding? You're Batman. You're Bruce Wayne. Why are you talking in that voice?
Because he's in character. He's in that mindset, dude.
I know. That's dedication and devotion to the
well,
role.
it's just beyond that. It's automatic. When you're in a certain mindset, you go with it. There's no questions.
Yeah. So, but before that, I think we haven't really seen Batman on film, we've seen him on TV in Super Friends. I'm talking between 60s Batman and 89 Batman. And I don't think there were many scenes of Bruce Wayne in the Super Friends cartoon. I could be mistaken.
To my knowledge, it was all, everybody was in character. Yeah. I don't think anybody did, their alter egos on this old Super Friends cartoon.
Right. Plus, wasn't that Adam West even on that one? Or at least season two?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah, Kevin's right. Adam West, I think, lent his voice to the Superpowers show in the mid-'80s. And who was Robin?
Oh, really?
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem was Robin, right. And Ernie Hudson was Cyborg.
I still remember Casey Kasem as Cliff Jumper from the old Transformers cartoon back in the 80s. So,
nice.
Man, that guy got around.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And now, one of the most venerable appearances by Adam West in a Batman production was an old episode of Batman the Animated Series, The Grey Ghost.
Oh, yeah, he was the Grey Ghost.
Yeah. So apropos. And that was just legendary right there.
Yeah. So what else? Anything else interesting happened at the con this year for you guys? Anything?
Well, that's almost a rhetorical question, Randy, because it's more like what were each of us able to get our proverbial hands on at the time.
Oh, are you talking about merchandise now, artwork?
No, just panels alone. Because it's impossible to go to every single panel because at any given time, 5 or 6 different panels or events are going on at the same time.
Right.
So it's always making a decision.
I'm really fortunate to have gone to the panel. I think I did like 3 or 4, but that was a lot for me anyway because it's just waiting on the lines, trying to get into them. It's a hassle. And Kevin, you did more than that. You did like 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe a little more if you count the sci-fi stage ones. I definitely, you know what, the panel works 2 ways. One, you hear some interesting conversations about subjects you wouldn't normally hear. 2, especially if you're doing the multi-day thing, you need to rest your feet because moving at a slow pace, waddling like a penguin because you don't have room, tires you out pretty quickly. So. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's much worse when you're wearing freaking boots, like cowboy boots, like what I got with the heels. Yeah. And I'll tell you this is a shout-out to all the women out there, especially those who are wearing heels. And I saw quite a few cosplayers in heels. Man, those things are murder on the feet. They don't do good things to your back after prolonged hours. So, my props and my sympathies to all the heel wearers out there.
It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. You got to pace yourself. And, Robin, I think the only time I saw you at the con for all 4 days was that one night where we were just sitting and kind of just resting for a bit. And that was much needed, I must say. during a con.
Yeah, because that's what you got to get that as much as possible. As a matter of fact,
Right.
I got as much lounge time as possible. The HBO Watchmen was doing this major promotion for the new HBO Watchmen show coming out.
Mm.
I one of my friends got me tickets to the after party. I think it was like Thursday or Friday night. That was a lot of fun. And there was also an HBO Watchmen lounge, which I was able to get into a couple of times.
Was that a Javits?
Excuse me.
Javits or a different?
Directly under DC in the basement in Javits. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. The lounge that was there.
Nice.
Excuse me.
That's
The lounge was on site. American Express had its own lounge, and I did that a lot.
So how was the Watchmen party? Did you go?
Yes, I did. A lot of fun.
Cool.
Mm. That was off-site. That took place at this garage type place, hangar type place, which was refurbished into a nightclub.
Oh,
and the whole thing was Watchmen
on,
and so forth.
That was like 34th Street, like on a few like 2 avenues.
Yeah, like on where the piers are.
Yeah, I saw some kind of like signage or some display there. So that's cool.
Excuse me.
Robin, get some water.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
No.
Yeah, I guess since you guys are talking about it, there were a lot of, and you guys tell me if you felt this way, at least if you're on the floor, instead of a lot of giveaways, which is like free pins or posters, they had that. But I feel like over the years, especially this year, they've reduced it to experiences, which is great. You do something unique, but there's no way you can do them all. Like South Park had a DNA one. There were some where you could actually test out video games, and there were or VR, but that's taken like 15, 20 minutes, the experience. And the line, hard to do them all.
Did you do any of them?
Oh, yeah, just test out the new Avengers game. That's going to be coming out across platforms. That was ridiculously good.
Wait, there's 2, isn't there? There's a fighting game, and then there's another like action adventure game. There's like 2 of them, I think, right?
Yeah, they had one was a Challenge of Heroes or Champions, I believe it is. That's been around for a while. It's a phone app, if that's your thing.
Okay.
I'm more of a console guy, and that is going to be a third-person story with all the Avengers. The idea being that there was an attack on San Francisco. Captain America is found missing, and craziness ensues from that.
Cool. Sounds fun. All right. Now, speaking of artwork and basically just stuff we splurged on, and then we had to have it, we bought it, and now we own it, and we're happy. Kevin, what were some items that you picked up?
I gotta say, in this instance, I was boring. I didn't get anything this year. The only thing I was interested in by the time I got there was sold out. There was a lot of like woodwork, more than any other year I saw that. And they actually had a beautiful little stand. It was a woodwork of a classic NES controller on the front. And in the back, it actually was carved out a whole Mario level 1 scene. So it's something I'm actually looking to see if they have it on their website. But in that sense, overall, I was kind of boring with my purchases.
Woodwork, so like a kind of like a wooden sculpture type of thing?
Like some guy whittled it.
Oh, whittled. Okay. That's cool. Robin, did you pick up anything cool or?
Well, let's just put it this way. Since so much of my budget went towards photo ops this year, my merch budget was severely limited.
Yeah.
But even then, I won a lottery to buy stuff at the Funko booth. And that Funko booth was structured such that only people who have won the lottery have the right and the privilege to purchase anything from there. And I was online collectively for like 3 hours. And I say collectively because in the middle of that line waiting, I had a photo op.
So you have to be in a lottery just to be online? I mean,
yes.
Yeah. You're a lottery online. They open up to the public at 3. People start lining up around 1:30 for that. And you're lucky if the people that in the lottery didn't buy everything. Robin, I'm right with you. I really wanted the Back to the Future Darth Vader Funko Pop, and I could not get my hands on it.
Oh, my God.
It was a marathon just to wait on that line. Oh, my God. And
how much
the stuff
was that?
I got,
Was it
Well,
the
let's
Darth
just put it
Vader?
this way. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you were saying. Go ahead.
No, I'm just curious how much the Vader, the Back to the Future pop was, Kevin.
I think it's just standard pricing, so tops would be $15. Usually it's less. The thing is, if it's limited edition, so if you don't get it there, you're going to pay a huge markup somewhere else. Later on the floor, I was seeing it go for $50 to $75, and it was hard for me to validate that purchase.
That's crazy. Yeah, I just got some like mini posters. I did. It was a cool black and white one with Tim. It was Tim Burton's Batman universe. Michael Keaton as Batman. You've got Joker, Catwoman, Penguin, all black and white, beautiful. And a Back to the Future poster, kind of like comic book style. And I got a Robin Hood Prince of Thieves action figure because I was feeling super nostalgic, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's a
I would be.
No.
Yo, Randy, own it. Say it with pride. Regret nothing.
No, I am not ashamed to own this figure.
And you regret nothing, dude.
Kevin, you know I'm a big action figure nut.
No. I don't question the action figure purchase. Just not a fan of that movie.
Yeah, it's not the best movie. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, you know, Kevin Costner around that time, I think he was in running to be Batman instead of Michael Keaton. I think that could have worked, but
who is this?
I think Kevin Costner was in the running to play Batman in 1989.
Oh, Kevin Costner. Oh, well, yeah, I could see that.
You know?
Well, it's funny because I remembered Michael Uslan talking about that at the panel years ago when he was talking about the Boy Who Meets Batman. Oh, Boy Love Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he was actually opposed to Michael Keaton's casting because of the visual aesthetic. Like, Michael Keaton doesn't have the jawline. You know, Batman has a square jaw. But Tim Burton was like, no, trust me with this. Yeah, you know. And once he saw him in the full get-up and so forth, it's like, wow, okay, he's Batman. You know.
Yeah. And the rest is history.
Oh, yeah, the rest is cinematic history. Oh, man. Yeah, and yeah, as we said, yeah, when I think about Michael Keaton doing Batman, not just the fact that it was an all-black Batman as opposed to, like, really colorful that we were so used to with the cartoons and so forth, but also that Michael Keaton came up with two distinct voices, one for Batman, one for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, that, if anything, he was, like, the originator of that.
I wonder if that was in the script at all, or if Bob Kane gave him a note, just do two voices, it's more effective. Or if it was just Keaton, if it was his idea, I don't know. But that's funny. All right, so this is a silly question, but you guys will be back next year, right, for Comic-Con 2020?
Oh, that really is a silly question. It's a question. Well, what degree is it silly? So,
here's a better question. So, are you more prepared? Is there anything differently you'd want to do next year?
Well, with me, I sort of let the dice fall where they may. I've been tending towards photo ops because panels in the early years where I was going to New York Comic Con, it was like panels, and I've kind of got my fill on panels because nowadays panels hardly keep my interest nowadays. So it has to be like a really, really interesting panel in order for me to be grabbed by it. But I usually just love the atmosphere, the people, the sights, the just the overall feel of New York Comic Con. It's just so addicting.
I agree. For me, I think my favorite part is just walking around and looking at the old stuff, action figures, movie posters, etc. It's just soaking it all in, taking it all in. It's a great feeling. Yeah,
just to be in a sea of thousands upon thousands of fans and cosplayers. Mm-hmm. That alone, you can't get anywhere else except another con. And even then, this New York Comic Con is like the biggest one, as far as I know.
Is it bigger? It's not bigger than San Diego, though.
Actually, there have been times where they outpopulated San Diego. At least for the past few years, I think.
Interesting.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Kevin, would you do anything differently next year?
I mean, to be honest, I think I always got to try, especially I think next year, to definitely go with all the big upcoming films coming out. But it's getting harder. That online lottery that you do when they first give you the pre-sale tickets, I was hovering for an hour and a half, and I was like logged in the time of. So you just always hope you get the multi-days, maybe the new entrants. But yeah, think about what DC and Marvel are coming out with next year. That's usually when they even go bigger on their booths at the Comic-Con. So that's something they'll definitely look forward to. They'll probably focus more on that when I'm there next year for that reason alone.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to do anything differently. Like, just pace myself, really. That's the only thing. That's the number one thing. And just try to be strategic. The program guide is basically the Bible for Comic-Con. So, just follow that.
And the app.
The app, of course. And just know where you're going, because it's a huge place, the Javits Center. So
here you go, Randall. I got something that you could do for next year.
Yeah. What?
Get yourself an external charger, because Javits has horrible reception, and it drains your battery super fast.
Oh, yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, battery pack. Yep. I'm with you on there, Kevin. I tend to have one. And my battery pack has QY charging tech. So instead of wires, I just rest my iPhone right on top of that battery pack, and it charges.
Yeah.
So,
word to the wise. Definitely for next year.
Yep. No, well, not just for next year, just like for life. Just
in general, yeah.
Yeah, in general. Just go out and get one of those suckers. It's an investment, because you never know.
Oh, I know. I know. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps it up for this year's recap of New York Comic Con. Any final thoughts? Any comments?
Other than make a point of going and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
Just go. Let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
And check the website, check the program guide. Plan as much out as you can. Because if anything catches your interest, you got to go in there, because an hour early is actually way too late. I found that out the hard way many times.
Yeah.
And also, just to recap some of my pro tips from being a veteran of this thing, for going there for like the past 10 times in a row, I'll tell you this. If you want in on the photo ops, do not wait to get the photo ops at the con.
Yeah.
Get the photo ops from the website. Subscribe to the email list, because as soon as a name is announced, log on to that bloody website and purchase the photo op right then and there. You will save yourself money, and you will also reserve your spot in line and all that.
Right. Indeed. Kevin, anything?
Yeah, I guess just to add to that, all about planning ahead of time. New York Comic Con's realizing a lot of the big panels are super competitive to get into. Even some of the booths, so they are offering those lotteries early, but it is exactly like the lottery. You'll be lucky if you get it, but you might as well try, because if you do, you get a guaranteed seat, or you get a guaranteed time slot to get that memorabilia you want, to see that person talk, and maybe even see a movie or early premiere, depending on what they're offering. So you might as well try.
Right.
Please, definitely wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah. Let me chime in and add something else with that, because the main stage, that huge theater that they have at New York Comic Con at the Javits Center, that can be a real pain to get anything, to get into anything. So they check you in like as soon as possible, like in the morning. Like whenever I go for the cosplay championship on Saturday night, I chime in with it first thing that morning, so I know I'm getting a seat.
Right.
So that's another pro tip. Anybody who wants to check out anything taking place on that giant main stage, check in early, like in the bloody morning. Circle the lines if you have to. If there are multiple events that you want to check in, circle the lines. In other words, as soon as you get off one line and you tap in, go on to the next line and tap in, so on and so forth. Because if there's more than one, you got to tap that badge in, whenever you can.
Basically,
in the morning.
Basically, the early bird catches the worm, and
you got to be really early for that.
And wear comfortable shoes. Those are the 2 tips, 2 takeaways from this year.
If failing comfortable shoes, get insoles.
Yeah.
Because if you've got like clunker boots or whatever it is that you got, if you've got like cushion insoles, that'll help out tremendously.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this recap. I want to thank you so much. This was great. And, hope to have you guys in the studio again soon.
Okay, no problem. Oh, and another pro tip,
Yes.
bring your own food.
Yeah, I know that.
Yes.
Yeah, the prices are a little crazy. Yeah, the
Yeah.
food. Though that Korean barbecue was really delicious, I must say.
It looked really good. But I'll tell you this, though. I brought my lunch and dinner every freaking day. You save money, and you also are in control of your diet. So, yeah, bring your own food. Another pro tip.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Robin. Feel better, and hope to see you guys soon.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Randall.
All right. This has been Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger. Take care, guys.